Welcome back to the Blue Review. No CY today. He is on his way back to Los Angeles, and he's coming in through LAX, who is also the sponsor of the Blue Review, and it's presented by Los Angeles International Airport, where changes are arriving daily to help reduce traffic, save travelers time, and transform the travel experience. CY is going to tell us all about his experience tomorrow, because you know he's always got stories. But there's two things I want to do here today. I want to talk about positive and one thing negative when it comes to the Dodgers. So the positive first, last night, Clayton Kershaw was up and down, right? So his first two innings was a little bit rough, mostly soft contact going over into the right field, but he got through all of that. Did give up the 3 runs, but after that, it all kind of just settled down, and that's the type of pitcher that Kershaw is, and what makes me feel like he's going to be just fine throughout this season, because he got through those 3 innings and then was great the rest of the way through. He went into the 6th inning with 90 pitches already, which normally for Kershaw, and or just from any Dodger pitcher for the most part, if they're at 90 pitches, they're out of the game. It's done. Instead, he came back out for that 6th, saved the bullpen a little bit, went to 100 pitches. It was only 10 pitches to get through that. It was just bang, bang, bang. He was in a groove. So what's nice to see from him is that he's getting into that groove, and which makes me think down the line, it's going to be somebody that he's going to be just fine. I really feel good about the top 3 in this rotation. Urias looks really good. Dustin May had a little bit of some control issues in that first inning the night before, but he got through it, and he looked much better the rest of the way. So you're starting to see those 3 guys really show that at the top of this rotation, they're going to be just fine. The other thing, the negative thing, so Miguel Rojas left the game with a hamstring injury. It's a hamstring strain. They haven't really said too much more about it since when I recorded this, so I don't know exactly what's going on with him. Maybe he's going to be okay, maybe not, but hamstrings tend to linger. And what happens is now, like we talked about yesterday on the Blue Review, Chris Taylor is going to have to step into that position. Chris Taylor has been a mess at the plate, and he kind of continues to be a mess at the plate. Even in his at-bats last night, he still struck out. He did have that 1 walk, but it's tough to say that 1 walk really counts as a walk. I mean, in the stat book it does, obviously, but it was a pitch clock violation. It wasn't like him actually taking that extra pitch to go and get on base. He very well could have struck out, but obviously he didn't. But that's still a problem for what I'm seeing from him. Now, what do you do if you're the Dodgers without Rojas, if he's out for an extended period of time? Chris Taylor obviously has to be that guy. Do you move Miguel Vargas over? I'm not sure if that's a spot for him anyway, like we talked about yesterday. There's a couple guys in AAA that you could possibly bring up. I think the most likely guy to move up is going to be Michael Busch. He is strictly a second baseman in the infield. He also can play the outfield and the different positions in the outfield, but he is a second baseman on the infield. So can he move over into the shortstop position and be able to play that one okay? It's tough. That's a tough transition. We saw Gavin Lux do it, so maybe he can. So if it's not Michael Busch, there's a couple other guys that are just a little bit below all that are probably not ready, according to the top 30 minor league prospects for the Dodgers. There's Eddie Leonard, who's in Double-A, but he is not really hitting all that way. They say that he's going to be ready next year in 2024, but he's so far this season he's 1 for 13 in his minimal. 1 for 19 in his minimal at bats that he's had. Not great offensively, probably not ready to come up to the majors. And then there's another guy named Alex Freeland who's in A+ ball, so he's definitely not ready. And according to that top 30 prospect, these two are both top 30 shortstops in the minor league system, but he's not ready till 2025. And there was another guy in 2028, but we don't need to get into that. So his Vargas. So what they're going to do is going to be interesting. I honestly think that Michael Busch probably makes the most sense. He's been hitting the ball really well in AAA, and you can kind of mix and match some things into that shortstop position. I'm assuming we're going to see either Busch or we could see Vargas go over to that shortstop position to kind of help maintain when you need Taylor to go somewhere else, especially if he's not hitting. Like, this is where it's an issue. He's kind of that guy that can go everywhere, but he's going to be thrust into that everyday shortstop role. His bat needs to come alive. Otherwise, he's not fantastic defensively. He's fine. He'll get through it. He'll get through the games pretty easily, but he's not some plus defensive player at shortstop. So if he's not a plus defensive player, which you need, especially with no shift, and he's a minus when it comes to the batting, that's not going to work out. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with who else can go into that role. I'm hoping that Bush is going to be that guy, but he's not really had any time up here. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to see what's going to happen. Luckily, it's an off day today, so we don't have to worry about that. We can get a little bit more time on Rojas. Maybe you can see if he's going to be just fine. But again, hamstring injuries, those tend to linger just a little bit. That'll do it for the Blue Review. CY will be back in studio tomorrow with me. We're going to be back in with this wonderful background. It's going to be the two of us. It'll be nice to see as he's coming through LAX airport. Thanks again to LAX, and that'll do it for today's Blue Review.